Welcome to another episode of Bishop's Breakdown. So let's break it down. Episode 5. So let's wrap up week 11 with Monday Night Football. The Dallas Cowboys travel to Las Vegas to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. But the Cowboys weren't just playing for the playoff hopes. They were playing for their fallen teammate, defensive end Marshawn Nealon. He died at the age of 24, believed to be a suicide. Rough situation for not just his family, but his Dallas Cowboys family as well. So here's a PSA before I continue this breakdown. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, there's help available. So call or text 988 or chat at 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org. So here's a moment of silence for Marshawn Nealon. R.I.P., young brother. Well, here's the first game since that incident happened for the Cowboys. They played with a lot of heart and destroyed a team that should be destroyed. Like, the Raiders are not that good, statistically or just how they play on the field. The defense looked vitalized, flying all over the field, making plays. They sacked Geno Smith like 4 times, picked him off once, and Dak Prescott did exactly what Jerry Jones paid him to do. 268 yards and 4 touchdowns. But it's another loss for the Raiders, who are 2-8 after this game. And I feel bad for Ashton Jeanty because he's an excellent player. Like, I watched him in Boise State. He is phenomenal. Like, no guy is taking him down the first time he gets hit. Like, his runs after the contact is insane. And with Scatterball's injury, I figured it was his rookie of the year to win. Like, there's no, maybe Ibuka from Tampa Bay, but Ashton is playing his heart out. But it's hard to showcase your talent as a running back when your team is always in catch-up mode. Like, seriously. When your team is letting you down and the defense is giving up all these points and the offense is lethargic until it matters, but then it's too late for him to show off his stats because they're already down by 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns like they were against the Chiefs. WWE Raw was live from the greatest arena in the world, Madison Square Garden in New York City. This was John Cena's final Raw as an in-ring competitor. Kind of bummed that it ended as a tag match. It was more of a nostalgia match with Rey Mysterio and Sheamus doing the greatest hits that they always do. 619, the 10 beats of the ballad or whatever Sheamus calls it, and they all did it, and they all did the 15 knuckle shuffle because they all, yeah. So, it's fine for what it was. At least we know who's his final 2 opponents. The first one is going to be a Survivor Series where he defends his newly won Intercontinental title against Dirty Dom Mysterio. And then the winner of the Last Time Is Now tournament on December 13th is when he faced that opponent. But my question is, does he lose both of his final matches? Like, he can't retain against Dominic Mysterio, right? Like, but then he can't win his final match either because he's old school, So when a wrestler is retiring or going out or leaving a company, they go out on their back to give the rub to the next guy on their way out the door. Like, it's looking like the tournament winner is going to be more and more the ring general, Gunther. Because out of all the people left, nobody else seems plausible. Except maybe L.A. Knight, yeah, or Carmelo Hayes. But I don't really see him beating Gunther unless some shenanigans happens and slip on a banana peel type thing. So I don't see how it's anybody but Gunther. And then later that night, Maxine Dupree faced Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And lo and behold, Maxine is your new WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion. Thanks in part to AJ Lee. And Becky did not seem pleased at all. And I didn't see her losing it. I figured AJ Lee was the one that was going to take that title off of Becky Lynch. You know, like Survivor Series, I thought, or the Rumble, or even wait until Mania. Have Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania in Vegas. But, I mean, there's still time for Becky to get the title back and do all that. But I love the move, though, honestly, because new blood. And Maxine's proved that she has grown. Like, she was green as all you know what. But she has changed my view of her. Like, I thought she was just, you know, a manager or just there to be there. But she must have took all the stuff that she learned from Natty and put it all together, because she has something. And I want to see what they're going to do with it. Hopefully she can keep it for a minute. And honestly, the AJ Lee and Becky Lynch match doesn't really need to be for a title. Like, AJ Lee does not need to win the Intercontinental Championship. So I think that match is going to be killer. And then we had what I like to call Avengers Endgame moment at the end of the show when the Team Punk was supposed to have a face-off against Team Vision, Team Braun Breakers, Team Paul Heyman. And then, you know, Punk comes out and they act like, oh, look, it's 4 of us against 1 of you. And he's all like, oh. And then, you know, the Usos come out. Cody Rhodes come out. The funny part of that Cody Rhodes Punk thing, Cody was trying to give him dap. And Punk just punked him out, honestly. I'm shocked Cody didn't do what Steph Curry did in that one game when he was trying to give a high five and he gave a high five to himself. But they get all in the ring, they're beating each other down, and all of a sudden, the Beast music plays. And Brock Lesnar, ripped as ever, comes out there just suplexing Punk. Looked like he suplexed him super hard on his neck and head and back and all that. And then Cody Rhodes is like, yeah, I got this. Nope. He suplexed the crap out of you, and then all of a sudden, the OTC, Roman Reigns, comes out and Superman punches Brock Lesnar out of the ring after a face-off. Yeah, that's Avengers Endgame, Avengers Assemble type of moment. Like I know, you know, it's still another week until Survivor Series, but that was an epic moment. That crowd was eating up every second of that, and I'm so hyped for the men's War Game match more than I was a week ago, even 4 or 5 days ago. And tonight is going to be Brock supposed to be in the building and Roman's supposed to be in the building, because this is the go-home show to Survivor Series in San Diego. So business is going to pick up. Plus, they got the Advantage match tonight. It's going to be epic, for sure. Friday Night SmackDown. How can I begin with this? So Cody Rhodes, OMG. He gets taken out and is bust by Drew McIntyre when the Usos were confronting the vision of Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, Paul Heyman, and Bronson Reed. And they look at him, you know, like they did on Monday, and there's 2 of y'all, there's 3 of us. You can't beat us. And Jimmy's like, well, who said we came alone? And Cody's music played, and yeah, he didn't come out. So they was like, what was going on? And then they pan up and they show the film, the Jumbotron, and said, oh, look, it's Cody Bus. And Drew coming out of the bus, and dude's hanging out of the bus driver's seat like he was drunk, and he just left him there. But when Cody Rhodes finally came out to even the score later in the night, he was fired up. I mean, he's bruised all over his face, but he was fired up. And He said to Braun Breaker, he's like, wherever you are, Braun Breaker, historically speaking, a Steiner could never beat a Rhodes. That was a good line. And then he looked at Paul Heyman while he was, helping Big Bronson Reed up. He said, Mr. Heyman, if I learned anything from looking at that WrestleMania photo, from the promo, you represented all of them on screen, like the CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns. And then he said, you know what I discovered in our relationship? You build them and I'll beat them. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Facts of life. Then Chelsea Green. She's supposed to have a little promo ceremony, a little celebration. And she's great. And her line of the night, the vibe's not vibing and the moon's not mooning. Yeah. She said that. The U.S. title open challenge. Like every match that Dragunov does, this week he did it against J.D. Madunham or Human Bobblehead. I mean, it's good matches, fantastic matches, like really good. But it feels villain of the week, for all your people who used to watch Smallville season 1 vibes, freak of the week. So every episode there was a new monster, a new villain that Clark had to stop. It's kind of like that. There's no story behind it. Just who wants to face me? And a guy comes out, they have great matches, and then next week he does it again. Like sooner or later, he's going to have to face somebody that means something, like has a story behind it. Because this open challenge, it ain't his. It's John Cena's. Heck, it's even Sami Zayn, because he was giving honor to John Cena. Dragunov just doing it just to do it. And I like his matches. I really like him as a wrestler. But he needs more. He needs some storyline, or this is a waste of time. And he might as well just lose it to Tamatoga or anybody else. It's just not the thing. Or Tommaso Ciampa. Sure. Give it to him. Sure. And the MFTs. I honestly like they do the old school mobster, Godfather, Solo sitting there with a suit, rubbing his hands, and the other members of MFT just standing behind him all stoic. But my boy Tongaloa, I guess he is the real tribal chief. He looked like he almost broke Solo, like Sami Zayn did with the Uzi comment. Ironically, they were talking about beating Sami, and Sami's the one that broke him the first time. But Tongaloa, yeah. Like, he was just like the super hype man for no reason at all. Like, Solo did not see that coming, and all of a sudden he's like, yeah. I love it. Good stuff. And then the women's War Games match added their respective 5th member. Shocker, it's Becky on one side for the heels. Team Nia Jax, sure. And then Team Io Sky or Team whatever. AJ Lee is joining their side. So, War Game set. Hopefully they can perform. I mean, they have enough women in there that put on good matches. I'm sure Io's going to put a trash can over her head and jump from the top of the cage and kill somebody. But I'm down. I'm down for that. So the tournament matches from Friday were Big Bronson Reed versus Carmelo Hayes. Fantastic match. I'm shocked Carmelo won, but he got to showcase his skills and win. Granted, it was counted out victory, but hey, a win's a win. But his match against Gunther is going to be classic because he's going to bump all over the place. And Gunther's going to chop him down like he's a redwood. But I'm assuming, because Team Punk cost the Vision this match, they're going to cost Jay his match on next Friday against Rusev. I think it's against Rusev, yeah. So they'll seek payback, but I know SmackDown was filmed, but I didn't check the spoilers because I want to watch it live like everybody else. And the other tournament match that was on SmackDown was Penta taking on Finn Balor. Such a fun match. Like, I'm a big fan of both guys. Finn Balor, the Demon, and Penta, and his brother, Ray Phoenix, Lucha Bros from AEW. Like, Penta winning the whole thing would be fantastic. But I don't think that's the plan that Triple H and WWE is going. I really think it's Gunther. Like, the ring general versus the GOAT. Even though Gunther does not accomplish anything. He's already the longest IC champion of all time. He already won the World Heavyweight title twice. So beating Cena is just... It's kind of like when Brock Lesnar beat The Streak. He didn't need to do that because he was already the established superstar for beating The Rock, for beating John Cena, for having all these title wins, for having Royal Rumble wins. Like, what accomplished Gunther gets from being the last opponent of the greatest of all time, John Cena? You know, but we'll see. We'll see what they do. You know, hopefully by the end of the weekend, I'll know more and see the direction they're going, and we can pick out the winners more clearly. But I don't think they're going to have the finals at Survivor Series, so it's going to be the week after. And Survivor Series is Saturday, November 29th, which is a good day because your boy Bishop was born on that day. So speaking of the 29th, NCAA football. It's officially rivalry week here in Ann Arbor. The game is 5 days away. Michigan Wolverines take on the number one team in the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Your boy here is going to try to get down to College Game Day because they're going to be in town, record some video. So keep your eyes out on both my TikTok and YouTube channels. This is definitely my favorite time of the year. You know, November, it's cold. Ohio State, Michigan. Can it get any better than this? But before anyone calls me a homer, if Michigan plays like they did against both Oklahoma Sooners and the USC Trojans, which are both their losses this year, then it will be a long massacre of a Saturday for the Michigan Wolverines. But if Michigan can keep it close and play like they've been playing, running the ball, Bryce using his legs, and making smart passes, and definitely no turnovers, Michigan might ruin the Buckeyes' day. They might put a 1 in the loss column for the Buckeyes with their playoff hopes and trying to win the Big Ten outright and all that stuff. But before I move on, a breaking story just popped up on my feed. The OHSAA, which is the Ohio State High School Athletic Association, according to ESPN, will now allow high school athletes, yes, between 15 to 18-year-old children, to get NIL money. Where does it stop? What's next? You're going to see that 5-year-old on the playground in elementary school and be like, hey, you want a shoe deal? Come here, kid. Like, I'm okay with college athletes getting money because the NCAA, for a fact, makes billions of dollars on the backs of these athletes every year. You know, combining football, basketball, baseball, like billions of dollars on these athletes who might never sniff the pros. Like, there's tons of great college football players, basketball players who never makes it to the NBA or NFL, respectively. So they can at least make something out of their lives. They can make some money from playing the sport that they love, even though they might be great for college, but not good enough for the NBA quite yet. So why should they get punished? Because they didn't make it to the league. So I understand the NIL deal. I understand that these athletes work hard to provide for the NCAA with good games, athleticism, All the stuff you see on TV, it's not on the backs of these old heads up in NCAA headquarters. It's these athletes with the helmets and the jerseys who put it on the line. I mean, for to put on a show. I mean, after all, sports is still entertainment. So, okay. All right. One more thing, because that really grinds my gears. There's already pressure on these high school kids to be good enough to make it to college. But now they're going to go all out for this NIL deal. Like these little 17, 16-year-old kids are going to put their bodies on the line because this NIL deal is definitely game-changing for them. I mean, if you offered a 16-year-old me $500,000 to already do what I love to do, play ball, play football, and all I got to do is appear in your commercial, wear your shoes, yeah. So I don't understand why they would even try to do this, but it is that OHIO state. They don't know what they're doing. Go Blue. So enough of me going on about this. It's still dumb. So dumb. The Buckeyes had a bye week this week. I mean, I know they played. I know there was a game on, but they were missing two of their top playmakers and still beat down, no offense, Rutgers. They beat you down. But the topic I want to talk about, according to this week, is the SEC Cupcake Week. You don't believe me? I'll break it down. Check out these three games from their top 10 schools. Fourth-ranked Georgia played this high-powered, goated team of Charlotte, who was 1-9 coming into this game and 0-3 on the road. Then you have third-ranked Texas A&M. They took on a 1-10 Samford team that's also 1-5 on the road. And then you got 10th-ranked Alabama taking on Eastern Illinois, who is 3-8 and 1-4 on the road. The only top 10 SEC teams who took on quote-unquote competition this week is the Oklahoma Sooners, who took on a conference opponent in 22nd ranked Missouri. Me personally, I don't think the NCAA should allow any conference to schedule non-conference games this late in the season. Like, the non-conference game should be early in the season before they even start conference play, like the Big Ten does, like all the other conferences seem to be doing. But it seems like the SEC wants to pad their stats near the end of the year, and so they can get better rankings, so they can get into these playoff games, which is not fair. You know, the Big Ten, if you look at the Big Ten final part of the season, I mean, granted, there's a lot of Big Ten teams that are trash. But you play who you play. At least they're playing conference games and not going out of conference. Regardless of how weak on paper the Ohio State Buckeye schedule has turned out to be. They didn't schedule Eastern Michigan or a Central Michigan or a Toledo or any other MAC schools the final week or final 2 weeks of November like the SEC just did. Because the three teams I mentioned, the Georgias, the Texas, and the Alabamas, they all played out of conference games the week before the final week of the season. For why? Like, for why? So they can have more dubs because they're already, high ranked. So it's hard for them to go down when they win. And especially if somebody above them loses, now all of a sudden they're moving up and they played a 1-10 team, a 1-9 team. Get out of here. But enough with college. Let's go to the pros. So week 12 of the NFL. I'm going to start talking the Lions versus the Giants. Heck of a game. Overtime. At home. I mean, I know. They shouldn't have let them get to that point. But Jameis Winston, that trick play where he ran down the side of the field, got thrown the touchdown pass, and stiff-armed the bejesus out of my mans and high-stepped into the end zone. Bruh. If this quarterback thing ain't working out, him a tight end or a wide receiver might not be a terrible idea, especially if Dart comes back this season. But I digress. Jahmyr Gibbs woke up, took his vitamins, said his prayers, brother. 219 yards on the ground, 45 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 of which came at the end of the game. One in the fourth quarter, and then one in overtime, 60-yard run to seal the game. At least on the offensive set. Because my man's Aiden Hutchinson on a 4th down in overtime seals the game with, I mean, his only sack of the game, but it was the most important sack because it was a walk-off sack with my man Aiden Hutchinson right in time for rivalry week. Go blue. But the Lions needed this win after last week because everybody else in the division won. So they needed to keep up with the rest of the league. Shedeur Sanders had his first start. Not bad, young fella. You went 11 for 20, 220 yards, a TD, and an INT. But most importantly, he got that dub. And there's one guy you might have heard of, Myles Garrett. He had 3 sacks. And as a team, sacked Geno Smith 10 times. You're not winning many games when your quarterback is staring up at the lights. It's hard to throw the ball down the field when the quarterback's on the ground. It's hard for an O-line to defend or block enough to give Geno Smith enough time when nobody's getting open. So my power ranking for this week, it got destroyed. So it's going to be a lot different than it was last week. Colts can't seal a game. Like they were up and the Chiefs pull off what they do. They needed that win. Because if they would have lost this game against the Colts, the Chiefs might not even made the playoffs this year. And that's wild to think about since it's like when you think of the playoffs, it goes Chiefs and then everybody else. Like they're a guarantee, like breathing. Or like they always say, in other news, water is wet. But the Eagles, how are you going to be up 21-7 at halftime and lose 21-24? You won the Super Bowl last year. You have a talented offense. You still have A.J. Brown. You still have Saquon Barkley. Oh, and you still have Jalen Hurts. And you put up a bagel, a goose egg in the second half. Your drives, your last 5 drives are like punts. Like, what are you doing? The Cowboys came in and dealt with you. Dak Prescott did his thing. Like, seriously. What are y'all doing? You beat the Lions last week, and it looked suspect. That game was down to the suspect. It like they always say, it's sus. and then you go and lose to the Cowboys. Like, you put up, the average Cowboy fan looked at it at halftime, looked at the score, and was like, okay, Cowboys lose again. No way Dak, CD, Pickens, Williams, Ferguson is going to come back from this game. But Jerry Jones was looking mad, like he was going to fire the whole team at halftime. I think I seen that old man smile. Jerry Jones smiling. Then we're talking about, like, Chicago Bears. They just win. Could Caleb Williams be the MVP? I mean, crazy things have happened in the NFL. Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears, leading the division. Like, if they went out and the Lions keep playing the way they're playing, the Lions might miss the playoffs. The Packers might miss the playoffs. But the Bears might make the playoffs. Like, as a division winner. So let's get to it. Here's my NFL power ranking as of right now. I got to give it up to the Rams. Matt Stafford, favorite to win the MVP. Like, he's not, he is playing like he was playing for the Lions, but instead of the Lions defense and the Lions offensive players letting him down, he's winning. I mean, granted, Baker Mayfield went down with a shoulder injury that he probably should have went out a long time before he actually went out. But when you throwing the pass with the opposite arm, and as soon as you throw it, you fall to the ground without anyone touching you because you're in so much pain. He probably should have not played that series at all. Like, when he felt that pop or whatever he felt, he should have just went to the sideline and sat down. Because clearly the game was over. There were no coming back. They shut down Ibuka. Godwin, first game back. But, you know, he can't do it by himself. Cade Otton, their tight end, was invisible. Rashard White, invisible. But them Rams, boy, Devontae Adams looked like he was a Packer again. Having fun, making catches. I mean, and then Puka. I love me some Puka. So, like, he's legit too. And, you know, Kyron Williams, they got a good team, and they got the best record in NFC. So don't be shocked if you see them in February. And then you got the Bears, the surprising Bears, the number one NFC North team. Then you got the Broncos, Bo Nix, still on top of the AFC, along with the Patriots, with like my favorite Drake. And then you got the Lions. I mean, they won. Granted, they had to go into overtime, but a dub is a dub, and Gibbs has a potential to have those games every single game going down to the end of the season. And there's one other guy that used to pull up numbers like that, and his name was Barry Sanders. So just watch out. Gibbs, Montgomery. I mean, without Sam Laporta, it's going to be difficult in the middle of the field. But they still got my man Amon St. Brown. I mean, he scored a few touchdowns against the Giants and salsa because, you know, Cruz for the Giants used to do that And so he was doing a tribute and also gotcha. So let's move on to the NBA power ranking. The Thunder, 17-1, defending NBA champions. The Pistons, 14-2, still leading the Eastern Conference. The Lakers, 12-4. LeBron's back. Luka's playing out of his mind. Austin Reeves still putting up numbers. Like I said, when those two guys do what they do and LeBron's on the court, he just has to do minuscule things. Just little LeBron James things, couple, 12, 14 points, 20 points, couple assists, some rebounds. The Lakers could be dangerous. You don't want to see the Lakers in the playoffs. Trust me. You don't want to see the Lakers. Then you got the Nuggets. 12-4. With my boy Jokic. Nikola Jokic. Super smooth. If you look at him, you think he plays for a rec team. But that man is good. And surprisingly, you got the Rockets. Kevin Durant, 10-4. I thought when they lost Van Vliet for the year, like a week before the season started, they would have trouble. Because Kevin Durant can't do it all. But the other Sengun, like they're doing what they need to do. They're playing good. Granted, the West is stacked. Because if you look at my power ranking, like four of the 5 teams are all on the West. So there's only room for one team in the finals from the West. So if they can't catch a Thunder, it could be a moot point. But I think the Lakers could take them out. The Nuggets, the Nuggets are going to be there in the playoffs for sure. But I think the Lakers, once playoff time comes, I think they can handle the Thunder in a series. Because, LeBron missed, a month, 2 months of the season. And he don't have to play 40 minutes a game. Like he could play 23 to 30 minutes a game or less, especially if Lucas keeps MVP numbers. So I don't see the end of the season going to be real interesting on the West. So my favorite, segment of the week is the elephant in the room. So I'm going to talk about tanking in the NBA. Because, I read this article and they were talking about, what measures they can do to stop this tanking thing. And like, I was always of the opinion that there's no way these $1 million athletes are tanking on purpose. There's no way they're losing games on purpose. But after this gambling thing, and after looking at the numbers, they might be tanking on purpose. So listen to these numbers. The bottom 5 teams have a combined wins of 13. So 5 teams combined on the bottom of the list have 13 total wins. And you look at the top, and they have 3 less wins than the number 1 seed, which is the Thunder, with 17. So here's the 5 teams I'm talking about. You got the 1-15 Wizards. You got the 2-15 Pelicans, the 2-14 Pacers, the 3-13 Nets, and the fire sale team of the century, the Kings, who said everybody's available to be traded. Like Sabonis, Levine, wild numbers. Westbrook. They're 4-13. So that's 13 wins. So how are you getting paid millions of dollars and you put this product on my TV? Are you even trying? I mean, it's a lottery after all. Just because you have the worst record in the league don't mean you're guaranteed the number one seed like you are in football. Like if they were 1-15 in NFL, number one pick. 2-15, number two pick. But you just get extra lottery balls thrown in the little spindle and they spin it up. And the first ball they grab, if it's your team's logo on it, that's the one you get. That's the number one seed. So tanking in the NBA seems kind of pointless. But I don't understand how you can look at those numbers, 16, 17 games into the season, and you don't have more than 3 wins. Like, this is the NBA. You're all supposed to be talented. You might not have the superstars, but you're $1 million athletes. You got drafted to play ball. You got traded there to play ball. You signed free agencies to play ball. And this is what effort you put out? You should be ashamed of yourself. How you going to put effort like this and look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, we won in 15, but I'm a millionaire, so suck it. Like, have some pride. Look at 1-15 and say, no, we're going on a 15-game winning streak right now. Like, you have to have that in your interpersonal to do what you need to do to put a better product on the field, on the court. Like, it's embarrassing. As a man, you should look at this and say, not me, not on my watch. You think the great players look at these numbers and say, yep, that's all we got. I'm just going to sit here and collect the paycheck and move on with my life. You think Jordan did this? You think LeBron would do this? Luka? Jokic? I don't know what they're thinking. Now coaches are losing their jobs. Players are getting shopped around like they're cattle because this is not okay. This is not what the NBA wants from their teams. You want to be able to advertise your leagues and say, like NFL does, any given Sunday, anybody can beat anybody. Favorites can lose. Underdogs can rise to the occasion and win on the last second field goal, last second touchdown, last second turnover, and win the game in overtime. Or onside kick, whatever it is, you have to watch the entirety of the game. Like the Cowboys. They were down 21-0 going to the second quarter. Madden rules for these tournaments, if you're down by 21 points at halftime, it's a forfeit. You ain't coming back. But the Cowboys did. I've seen other teams do that in the history of the NFL. So there should be no excuse. There should be any given night, any given arena, any team, regardless of payroll or how many all-stars they have or how many big marquee talent they have on their roster, should put in some effort and beat anybody, regardless of who they are. I've seen games where the Wizards won that they shouldn't have won. So are they tanking on purpose? Is what I'm trying to figure out. And what do they think is going to automatically get out of it? Like the what are they gonna get out of it? It just doesn't make no sense about anything to me about unless the NBA is guaranteeing these teams. All right, so you lose all these games and make the teams I want to win look good, and you get the number one pick. Because that's not how it's worked in the last 10 years. Like, the people who lose the most aren't getting those automatic number one picks. The Mavs, number one pick, remember? They didn't have the worst record in the league. So let's move on to my MVP watch for the NBA. So my MVP watch right now, just a disclaimer. I feel if your team ain't performing on the records, the standings, the wins, the W's, like nobody from the Wizards is going to be on his MVP watch, is what I'm trying to say. You might do differently based on, stats, individual stats, which is fine. But I feel if you're not even the best player on your team, or if you take your said player off that team and they still are doing the same thing they're doing, they still losing or still winning or vice versa. MVP means you're the most valuable player to your team and the league altogether. All right, so first is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Oklahoma City Thunder, the reigning, defending NBA Finals champion. Number one seed in the entire NBA is his team, the Thunder. He's averaging 32.2 points a game, which is the league leader, by the way. All right, no, one of the league leaders, like top 5. Sorry. And then Luka, 34.5 points, which he is the one that's actually on top of the leaderboard of points per game. 8.9 dimes per game. And the Lakers are 12-4. And LeBron just came back. Like I said, watch out for the Lakers. Then you got Nikola Jokic. 30 points per game. 13 boards per game. And 10.8 dimes a game. Yeah, triple-double numbers. That's just a Jokic day. Another news, water is wet. And then you got Cade Cunningham from the Detroit Pistons. 27.4 points a game, 9.9 dimes per game. He also missed a few games. And they're the number one seed in the whole entire East. Detroit Pistons. Let's go. And last but not least, Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers. And they're 9-7. He's averaging 33 points a game. Paul George came back. They still haven't beat on that team. They got a nice little squad. And the East is pretty wide open. With the team from the East that won the Eastern Conference last year, the Pacers are definitely not making the playoffs. Not with that roster. So, and the Celtics are meh. When you miss marquee players like Tyrese Halliburton for the Pacers, and your man from Boston, Jason Tatum. I mean, what do you expect? So this might be the year if the Pistons can keep it up. It might be Pistons Lakers part 2. Because last time they played them, the Lakers versus the Pistons won their last title. I'm all for that. LeBron James, Luka, Austin Reeves versus Duncan Robinson, Cade Cunningham, Duran. Sign me up. That sounds like NBA Finals I want to see. Hey, trying to get tickets, right? Might as well try to get right now. And there you have it. Episode 5 is a wrap. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on X, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Facebook, all the things. Leave some comments. Shoot me an email at bishopbreakdown@gmail.com with any questions, or just say, what up? I end every episode the same. John Cena, only 2 more dates till he's retired, said, control the controllables. Remember that. I will catch you next week for more breakdown. But I might do a bonus episode on Saturday in between the Michigan game and Survivor Series later that night, giving you my predictions for the show and my observation of the game. So this is your host, Bishop, signing out. Next week, I'll be here. Same Bishop time, same Bishop channel. Let's go. And in honor of the Michigan versus Ohio State, the game, hail to the victors.